Welcome to Be the Ripple podcast. I'm Sabine, and I'm so glad you're here. This podcast is inspired by the Ripple Network, a platform dedicated to empowering women amplify their voices. Just like the network, this podcast is about creating space for connection, growth, and powerful storytelling. Here we shine a light on remarkable individuals who are breaking barriers, building bridges, sparking ripples of positive change in their communities and beyond. And in every episode, we share powerful stories of resilience, courage, and purpose, showing how even the smallest actions can have an extraordinary impact. So get ready to feel inspired, empowered, and reminded of the incredible potential we have to leave our mark. So let's create ripples together. Hello, Mary. How are you?
Hello, Sabina. I am very well. How are you?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm really happy to have this conversation. And it's an interesting conversation to have with you because we have known each other for such a long time. And this whole thing of ripples just comes back, right? I just find it fascinating that we were friends, or still friends,
Yes.
but that we've known each other for such a long time and in such different areas of our lifestyle, and we've reconnected, and that has evolved into us actually being on this podcast today and talking and working together, which is, I just think is fabulous. So I'm very excited. Roundabout answer, I'm very happy to be here and talking.
Thank you.
Talking with you.
Me too. Me too. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. And we're doing so, the Ripple Network, we're actually going to all get together with the partners tomorrow. But what I thought it was really important to do some individual chats with each of you in order to share what you think about this, what are your ideas around this, and also just to learn more about you and what your goals are also for your business and what your goals are for also helping to grow and empower women and also in your space and how we heal. So I'm really looking forward just to listen to you talk more about what you do, about a little bit of your personal journey to how you got here today. And happy for you to share whatever you like if you want to do some personal things. And obviously your professional drivers as well. So I really look forward just to sit back and listen a little bit and how you got here and a little bit about your philosophies and what you think also about the Ripple Network. But we'll start with you.
Well, so I'm thinking out in my head as you ask that question, is like, what would be the most useful for people to know about me? And at first I have to say, if Sabina Hutchison asked me to do anything, I am there. So just know that you have a magnetic pull, and having known you for so long, even we had a number of years, probably over a decade, we weren't really in contact.
Yeah,
So that's what I mean by there is something much deeper connection with you that has stayed true. And I trust that. And I trust that in my body. And I think that's, part of like why I'm here and what I know I can offer women who are wanting to feel more present and powerful and calm in their work in the world. They actually want to see, their values and what they believe in and their vision, that they know deep inside out there, like how to make that visible to the world. Because I have that same desire and passion. And so with all of my training, which, gosh, the primary fundamental thing that shaped me the most in my 55 years is the Chinese medical background that I, I did a master's program, and it really shaped me to understand through a particular lens of very old ancient medicine that's still incredibly relevant for people's well-being and healing. And I have found that from my own personal experience to be amazing. And it wasn't until I moved to Washington, D.C. almost 20 years ago that I decided that, well, okay, I think it's time to study it, not just kind of like on the side, be studying different things.
So when you started with acupuncture, is that right? Was that the first step?
I mean, I was always interested in environmental, so before that, the MBA comes from wanting to understand how business and how we could be good stewards as business people. So I was always interested in the natural world, natural environment. Growing up, I was always, just like always outside, wanting to just be in nature. I had an interest in gardening and animals and,
That's
natural
definitely
beings.
how I know you.
Yeah. And so when we knew each other, I was running different environmental nonprofits. I was executive director of different nonprofits 3 different times. And I really felt passionate about educating people that you have choices in the world, and how and what you do in the world actually matters. And so that was, but then it wasn't enough. It didn't feel like it was quite enough. And when I moved here almost 20 years ago, I was really frustrated, and I really wanted to know if I could actually make a bigger impact. And because I wasn't feeling well myself in this body, I sought out acupuncture again, because we met in Salt Lake City, Utah, where I
Mhm.
was also seeing natural medicine people for all different things, because I've been really, really sick in my life. And so when I moved to DC, I really didn't want that experience again. So I was encouraged by several people to do, because of my interest and my kind of understanding on how the body is wise, although wouldn't frame it like that until I went through my schooling. And that was really the deep roots that began to form in how human beings in the natural world, and how the natural world and humans and everything that we do is connected. And so from that, I just kept building, I guess, and expanding my interest and my study. I mean, so then it's been like since my graduation of 2010, I've gone into all types of different intersections. So, medical qigong, how to teach people the wisdom of their bodies. So everything's about the wisdom of your body. Chinese medicine, that's how I look at it. Qigong, that's how I frame it. That's how I teach it. And then reconnecting with the fundamental skills that I actually was taught in acupuncture school. At the time, the initial learning wasn't called the wisdom within method. That's actually that's my combination of all of my different trainings kind of combined into one. But the one thing that I've been doing the past 3 years is really, how do I so I've gotten out of the needling business.
Mhm.
So I needle with words.
The physical, yeah, I was going to say the physical needling you've gotten out
Yeah.
of, but you're doing it.
Yeah. And so I'm coaching, and basically to me, coaching is just asking really good questions, but questions that when I'm with a client or a group of people, something arises in me to say something or to point something out. And I actually know we all do this. And I feel like women in particular squash that. And so if we were to connect like that to, what you're up to and what we're up to, is like, really, I'm very committed in the world to having women understand that any discomfort you're feeling in your physical body is wisdom. Because that's to me, that's a much more powerful framing, because we have been trained to think of it as a problem, which cascades into your problem.
That's
Maybe it
interesting that you
is. I don't
say
know. But
that. Yeah.
yeah, but I want to know. Let's find out. Right. And I have my series of 12 different skills that I teach. Have you recognized the power of physical discomfort, physical symptoms? We could call it tension. I call it upset. Upset is reactivity. Oh, this thing is happening. I don't want it to happen. But let's not throw it away. Let's actually just ask into it and see what's going on. Is there something you want to speak? Is there something you need to hold back? How do you know the difference? Right. And the way I do it, it nuances that, kind of separates that out. Then you'll know after a series of practices.
Yeah. And it is interesting as well, because a lot of, what the Ripple Network is also around speaking and using your voice and getting that out. But what you're doing is such a key piece to get that voice out and to listen to that, because I think so often women even think about going and speaking somewhere, and you get those upsets and you get your body reacts a certain way.
Yeah.
And then that can stop you from actually taking that step, because you're like, oh, no, 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 no. I don't
Exactly.
want to
Yeah.
feel that. I don't want
Yeah.
to get this nauseous feeling in my stomach at even thinking about getting up on a stage or presenting at a company meeting or even in a one-to-one using your voice well.
Exactly. Yeah. So you're pointing to something very important, because sometimes an uncomfortable feeling, what I'll hear, and certainly I've said myself, that must mean I shouldn't say anything, or that must mean blah, 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 whatever. So I want to put it this way, there's the sensation, the reactivity that you're observing, and then there's the story you tell about it. So there's always two things going on. And so we get curious about the story, because maybe that's true too. But again, because what I'm teaching is so anybody can practice them, because we're all doing them anyway. We're just going to through it a little bit more, but the skills that I teach are designed for your individual situation. So it's micro and macro. We're all humans trying to make it in this world, right? And so how you're doing life, how can we just tweak it just a little bit better? So your stomach discomfort, or maybe that, lack of sleep or insomnia, or the waking up several times a night, how could that be wisdom? Because I actually think, when I ask people, I said, I think so let's just dig around and see what comes up. No, I guess that when I say that, I think, oh my God, I hope people don't think this is therapy.
Yeah. I was just going to say that, because it's not, because it has a lot to do with business. It's there. And funny, our brains are I think connected somehow that way, because I think too, people be like, oh, well, this is therapy and learning to deal with this, but it has so much to do with business. I know, because I've worked with you in this space. And so I know what an impact, and we worked completely just on a business level. We didn't obviously, some things that you have situations in your private life, but
personal stuff always comes up.
It was completely focused on how I can become a better leader and how I can deal with upsets better, also with employees and team members. And so it's a very powerful practice, that leadership role as well. Or even if you're not leading a team, you're still dealing with individuals. That's part of life.
Yeah. And whether you're an entrepreneur or leading a community organization, that something that matters to you in the world. Because so the premise of all of this is why does this matter? Okay. So think of a time when you've worked with someone and they dominate the space because they're upset, or they complain a lot, right? So we can all relate to that, right? Spread it into the room that other end, or spread it into the Zoom room. Doesn't matter. Upset is and this is how energetics, like Qigong and Chinese medicine, they've been around for thousands of years, because they actually do work. Depending on, context matters, certainly the practitioner matters, but energetically, when you just think of somebody right now that comes into a room or a Zoom room and they're upset because, I don't know, who knows, right? They just had to fire somebody, or they actually just left home and they burned all of their breakfast. I don't know, right? Or someone cut them off in traffic, right? With noticing that tension, you can actually discharge it the way I teach it immediately. So you don't have to bring it into the Zoom room. So you don't have to disrupt the meeting and everybody. And now is what's up with, Jane? Because one person sets the whole tone of an organization.
Absolutely.
If you're not going, well, that's okay over there. I'm not going to let it affect me. We've all done that too. So how do we go from being affected to them being nonplussed about the whole thing? So that's what I teach. It's a pretty effective and pretty quick way to diffuse and smooth out any communication. Home, work, doesn't matter, because you're a human being wherever you go. Why stop at the work walls?
Amazing. Really, really great. I'm curious about putting this into context, also into a work setting. Can you, obviously without sharing personal information, but what kind of people do you work with, and what kind of outcomes or positive outcomes have you seen?
Well, so I work with usually small business owners, and they are founders or CEOs. A lot of small business people, though, they don't call themselves CEOs. They feel like that's very corporate.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, they're making all the decisions. And so that does qualify them. And so, I have a group of women. It didn't intend it to be all women, but there's the one that registered. And so a couple things happened where after our very first call, so it's a 13-week program to go over each of the skills, and then final one to kind of wrap it all up. But after the first call, this is, I'm introducing skill number 1, which is upset is optional. That's the name of it.
I love that.
And when we came back the next week, the comment was, I didn't realize how much I was tensing, and this particular person is coming to mind, in my meetings with such and such, or I've been on, away from the office. She's in another country, working because she wants to spend time with family. And she's noticing her reactivity of all the emails coming in about a certain project, and then she's seeing like the names of the people and the content. And she's like, oh my gosh, I had no idea that I was reacting so much. No one's ever asked me to observe. And so what's cool about that is once you observe something, you now have a choice. And so, but we first have to observe even, each time. So we're on week 5 coming up on Monday, and the comments are like, people are trying to make this more complex, because what I specialize in is simplicity. Simplicity doesn't mean it's simple. What simplicity means is you can actively practice these skills without bringing along a workbook or notes or whatever. I teach you to observe your physical body because that's what you bring everywhere you go. And so what's happening inside the group is like mysterious symptoms that kind of maybe they're taking to the doctor, are like, oh, not so mysterious anymore, because I'm now learning to be more present and to choose something else other than my being unaware and going, I don't know, right? Well, wouldn't you like to know how you're creating your symptoms and what that has to do with your physical well-being of your organization? Because they're interconnected. And so I think that's what also makes what I do really unique, because I have a medical background, a Chinese medic. I had to study Western medicine. So I'm very familiar with a lot of diseases that exist in the world. But you're a human being. You're going to impact how you feel, right? When you go to your office, how you physically feel makes a difference inside the office. So it's incredibly relevant as a leader. So well-being of the leader matters with the well-being of the organization. Everything, profit and loss, attrition, hiring, right? It matters. So,
yeah, it definitely does. And really, really great. And also, again, how you show up. If you think about how you're going to speak and your confidence level and not letting those upsets happen, and how you're present and how you walk in a room. Yeah. Also, all that awareness can be seen in those situations as well.
I used to be super nervous to come on podcasts or even to have a visual and even to teach classes on Zoom. I was like, very like, but now I'm like, I still notice something, but it's like, it's okay. So my whole goal, this may sound kind of silly, but it actually works for it. And you know how when you're sitting on the couch watching your favorite movie or TV, and or I call it the Netflix body, where you're like excited because you can't wait to watch the thing, and you just feel really good. So think of a film or a movie that you're like, or a show that you're like, yeah, it's a real treat. Okay, I want that body leading the organization you run. Like, how do you create the Netflix body leading? You absolutely can. And so over and over, it's these practices.
Yeah, it's practice.
What's the difference between, like, what am I saying to myself that has me go, well, I have to show up in a certain way, right? Or I have to show up professional. Okay, yes, I would say you have to like show up calm and present.
Which is professional.
That's professional. So you can take your, I'm nervous. Let's use it. Like, let's use it as a pointer. So you can go, I've got this presentation. I'm going to be speaking up. Well, with a little bit of honing, that doesn't take a lot of time, because transformation of, what you want to deliver into the world actually doesn't take time. It actually just takes moment by moment present. So that's what we're really honing.
That being present, that's so true.
It's so kind of a sneaky, simple thing, but it's a big deal.
Yeah. But it is the practice. And I think that that's true too. If you think about, that's one of the things with the Ripple Network is that it's practice. You can't just jump into it and then somebody's going to wave a wand and you're going to be able to speak. It's going to be practice and practice and practice and practice. And it's about you showing up every day and doing that. So
consistently showing up.
Yeah.
I've even started, doing, well, at least this past week, a couple videos, which I would done. So even as long as I've been practicing my own leadership and skills of just showing up, it's taken on a new level because I'll tell you what it is. I've just decided that this year, 2025, I'm just going to do the things that I'm like later. And I'm like, nope, that has been on that list. What if I just did it? Like just do a video. I challenge myself to make 1 minute video at least 3 times a week. I got 2. It's Thursday. So, hey, it's still fun.
Only one way to go. Yeah,
exactly. And it's just a little bit of like, here's what you can do in the moment of noticing tension. Tension is a teacher. Let's not cover it up. You can, right? You can take whatever you take for your headaches and whatever. Sure. But there's a whole bunch of stuff before you do that we could just figure out what's going on. And then, like me, I rarely have headaches anymore.
Wow. So lots more
too.
that people, lots more to go into there. I think we could talk hours about this.
Yeah, this is fun.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited for the Ripple Network. It's I know it's a passion project for you. And I just really feel strongly supporting women showing up in the world. It's really time. I mean, it's always been time.
Yeah.
But it's really time.
It is really
and I love that you've gathered a group of women to support other women. And I'm just so looking forward to what we're going to be creating ongoingly. Very exciting time.
Really excited. So if you were to have, if you could describe the Ripple Network in 5 words, or it can be less as well. So at least 5 words. What words would you choose?
I would choose powerful, supportive, engaging, transformative, and grounded.
That's a good one. Nice.
Yeah, but it's not like try this and this. It's like no. These are these are professionals that have been in their business, that have been in the leadership roles. Everybody, right? Decades, yes. So this is not, and we are continuing to kind of up our game, up level what we're doing. So there's nobody's static, just coasting along. No, you gathered a bunch of really skilled leaders to support other women who are very skilled. And I don't feel like what we're going to be doing is like wholesale change. No, it's just a little bit here and a little bit there.
A little bit there. Yeah. And the consistency in the showing up every day. And I think what you just said really resonated is that people may think, why is Mary in this group? Or why is Suzanne? Or why is Gina? Because we are a whole being. Like you said, we are not just
we have a piece. Yeah, we have a piece.
Each person has a piece of supporting someone to show up and to use their voice. And I think that that's the beauty of all of this, is that each person can add value. And Emma brings her piece. She's the one that has done a lot of her schooling on speaking. And you have your piece. Gina has her piece, and Suzanne has hers. And it's interesting too, because I'm not the expert speaker either, but I have the idea. And I have the vision to pull this together. And I think that that's what's so beautiful, is bringing together kind of these different personalities and these diverse individuals to make something like this. Who would have thought it?
I know.
A year ago. And
this was not in my, when we first reconnected, was not even.
So I think that's what's one of the valuable pieces around this. And so you said very kindly that because I asked you to be part of this and you said yes. So if you think about, we've talked a bit about this, but is there anything else that you would say around what really motivates you to be part of this?
I mean, I've been a part of a lot of different groups. Over the years, I've been a business owner. Even like my current business has taken many shapes, but I've been running nonprofits, owning my own business now for, gosh, since the days of Utah, right? I just think that since 1992, 93 technically. And so at this time in my life, I'm only interested in really being with people that I actually enjoy being with. And I encourage people to also, women, to notice that, like, who do you enjoy? Not that they don't challenge, right? It's not that I'm not being challenged. It's more of like, I trust some particular set of sensations when you invited me to go, it's kind of like, what's this about? And then, we've been like working on this for a while now, right? And so there was a sense of, yes, I call it like, yes, keep checking this out. Let's keep seeing what she's up to. Let's keep going, right? And yeah. And so I just really like being with other women, supporting other women, period. That fulfills me very much. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, it's also tick, tick, tick. We're doing something for the broader world and for women, which is a big tick for me, which what I believe in, and empowering and offering a place where women can actually work on using their voices, and also getting the grounded pieces and all of the other aspects of that the partners bring.
Yep.
And it's interesting for us. I get also to work with individuals that I value and that I respect and that I can learn from. So I'm really excited.
Exactly.
Also, yeah, you're right.
Yes. It's not like, we've got all the solutions, but we have combined. I don't know if you've added up how many combined years experience. It's a lot. And there's still room to go, right? I think that's actually key. You know this, right? It's like to leave a bit of mystery, because every person coming to the platform is looking for something very particular to them. And so it's leaving enough spaciousness to really find out like what that is, and then for that to grow, organically, and expand and take different shapes. So yeah,
there's a lot of room to grow.
A lot of ease and flow.
Yeah,
is what I'm
definitely
feeling, and that's what I trust.
That's a good thing to trust that.
Yeah.
Well, we've got a lot of the things that I wanted to discuss today. We've talked about in stories, and also your thoughts around like what is unique about the Ripple Network, and about the broader impact. We're helping women, but what do you see as, maybe in some of the work that you do as well? What's the impact like on the world? Because we're not just here by ourselves. It is a ripple. So what are some of the ripples that you think that are going to be created?
Well, I mean, if there's like a business idea to make a difference with a certain population, or there's that we're supporting, I mean, that would be amazing. So each person is I think of it like the Ripple Network, maybe like an ecosystem. And so working synergistically together can help anyone who's a member really see what's possible for them with support. Because if you think about the natural ecosystem, those plants or other mammals thrive because of other species, other or like completely different, but completely necessary. And I think in the West, especially in the US, we were founded upon the principle of independence, which is inaccurate, because we've never been able to do anything without other people. I mean, think about your entire life.
Yeah.
Did you start your company by yourself?
Nope.
No. Did you? Yeah. I mean, you didn't get through school by yourself, right? So,
nope.
So yeah. I feel like this is a real opportunity to go. Independence actually feels weaker. Now, I don't know if that's the right word, but it's like you're going to be much more solid and confident if you knowing that you have all these women behind you going, you can do this. You got this. Because that's the Ripple Network. You don't have to do it alone, and you can't do it alone. So why not choose a group of a supportive community that's going to handhold you if necessary, but also be like, what do you need? How can we help you? Like, let's get started.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's do. And we are. So that's the exciting thing, is that we're doing this, and let's see where it goes and how it evolves, and being part of this community. So I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled that you're a part of it, Mary.
Thank you. Me
Feeling
too.
really, really grateful that that our paths have reconnected, and that we are traveling like on this road together right now. So really looking forward to where we're going to go.
Me too. From the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for, having the courage to step into this. It matters. It matters. And so thank you. Really.
Yeah. And thank you for being a part of it and jumping on this bandwagon. So thanks, Mary. It has been a treat as always to talk to you. And I wish you a good rest of the day, because you are still in the middle of yours. I'm coming to the close of mine. That's why it's so dark. I feel like I'm in the dark here. Yeah. All right. And we will talk soon. Thanks, Mary.
Talk soon. Bye.
Thank you for being here today with me on Be the Ripple podcast. And I hope today's conversation has sparked something, an idea, a bold step, or even just a reminder of the power you hold to create ripples of impact. And together we're proving that every voice matters and every ripple counts. And if this episode inspired you, please share it with someone who might need that spark today. Be sure to subscribe so you won't miss the incredible stories and voices that we'll be sharing next. So until next time, keep building bridges, breaking barriers, and creating ripples of your own. Together we'll make waves that reach far and wide. So take care, and I'll see you soon.